Everybody knows.
You just
Thank
took
you.
that class.
So you'll hear a little applause. Larry do a little applause, and then I'll introduce the show.
His math for pass interference is correct. His math for pass interference is correct. Opponents playing Alabama have been called for pass interference 3 times this season. Whereas Alabama's been called for pass interference.
Charlie.
It seems.
Hey, there's the applause. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Three Guys Who Love Sports. We're here at Miller's Ale House on a chilly Wednesday afternoon for October. It's very unusual for it to be this chilly in October, but I kind of like it. So happy to be here. Like I said, we're Three Guys Who Love Sports. My name is Chuck Burge. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Mr. Robert Kinney. And our new guest today is Ray Baker. Ray, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks, guys.
So basically, we're here to help take men's problems away from them for an hour and hopefully make them laugh and talk a little bit about sports. We'd love to have your opinions, too. You can reach out to us at 470-7-SPORTS and text us at that same number. If you'd like to be on the show, we'd like to have you on as well to hear about your favorite sports moments and talk about your favorite teams. So that's 470-7-SPORTS. We will start out today talking about the Atlanta Braves. A week ago, we're in the playoffs. Today, bye-bye.
Hey, let me just ask you, is there a radio station you could tune to?
There is a radio station you can turn to and listen to, and that is 91.1 FM. That's 91.1 FM to listen to Three Guys Who Love Sports. Thank you for bringing that up, co-host Robert.
Hey, no problem.
So what do you think about the Braves? Because if I remember correctly, we made some picks a couple of weeks ago who's going to win the World Series, and I think I can't remember who was on with us that week. It was Ian, was it? No, it was last week, Alan. Alan Adair.
2 Braves and a Yankee.
2 Braves and a Yankee. So I'm the only one. But who would have chose out of the 4, out of the 8, that everybody would be gone? The Dodgers would be gone. The Braves would be gone. So 2 really wild cards. Nobody that won the divisions in the National League made or in the LDS, right?
Correct, yeah.
Ray's a big baseball fan, so Ray is going to be our go-to guy here in terms of Ray, am I right, or Ray, am I wrong? Of course, Robert is too, but Ray's all over this.
So, at the end of the day, it's like I've been telling people all year, you got to catch lightning in a bottle. We caught lightning in a bottle last year at the trade deadline. We signed a bunch of outfielders nobody else wanted, and we won a World Series with our best player on the bench. This year, we had a better team. Top to bottom, a better team. But we did not have lightning in a bottle. And, last time I checked, you still need old lady momentum.
Yeah.
And, we didn't have it. Dodgers didn't have it.
Dodgers didn't have it. And is it the 5-day layoff? Do you think that had anything to do with it?
I do think it has. I do think it has something to do with it. As far as the layoff and all that. Last year the Braves had 4 days off. This year they had 6. The Dodgers had 6 days off. So yeah, trying to get that momentum back compared to a team that has been fighting and has been there. But the number one reason is good pitching always stops good hitting 100% of the time. You could have combined the Dodgers and the Braves lineup, and Nola was going to shut them down. When you have a pitcher that has all 4 pitches going, spotting up everyone, it doesn't matter. He's going to stop them.
Yep.
So is that's what happened? The Braves lost the momentum. They just didn't have the pitching. A lot of it's timing. When you sit for 6 days and you don't go against live pitching, it's a different animal, right?
Especially when you're a slugger.
Possibly so, but these guys are professionals. They've been doing it for 6 months. It's not like they've been hanging out at the Dunkin' Donuts eating whatever the entire time. They're still practicing. They're still hitting against their own pitching. It's easy to blame it on them, on the layoff because of that. But last year there was no such thing as a 5 seed or a 6 seed. And now in the very first year of a 5 seed and 6 seed, it's the NLCS. It's also the first NLCS where neither team has 90 wins. That's never happened in the history of the National League. Two teams under that. When you look at what they've done so far, the Padres have already taken out 2 100-win teams. And the Phillies have taken one out. So, it's crazy what they've done. But when it comes down to it again, it's momentum. It's timely hitting. When you watch that first game last Tuesday and they had the 4 bloopers in the first inning and you're like, these C&I singles. That's what it takes. It takes a game like that. We won the second game with a couple of the best catches the left side of the infield had ever had. But now we are just in the Dansby watch.
Yeah, what's going to happen to Mr. Dansby? Is he going to be a Brave? Have they got any money left to sign him after they've given up so much for everybody else?
They've got enough money because they print money down at the Battery.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they actually just print it. They just run it.
They
right
just
off
plug
the
in the battery and they.
But at the end of the day, you're not supposed to let these people become free agents.
Hometown boy.
Freddie Freeman's a different case. He's an MVP winner who also won the World Series for you. But you could have signed him after his MVP year or the year before his MVP year. You chose not to. At this point in time, Dansby, yes, he had his career year, so give him the Adrian Beltre nod of approval, or Aaron Judge, as we can call it now. You're an unrestricted free agent, and you did your best. At that same point, though, he's the leader of the clubhouse. If he's not in,
Who takes over that position?
because he is the rah-rah.
Do you agree with that, Ray?
Well, one thing that everybody forgets is it takes 2 to sign a deal. I know Alex they've exchanged numbers last year with Freddie. The contract that was offered to Freddie was actually a better deal
Than what he got in
than
LA.
what he got from LA.
Correct. But at the end of the day, you should never have had Freddie Freeman be a free agent. When you have a generational Hall of Fame player, he should have been signed 2 years before that was Now, that's not the same as Dansby. Dansby is not a generational Hall of Famer, but it's still it's going to be hanging over our shoulders. It's all my daughter cares about. Freddie Freeman was her favorite player 2 years ago. Dansby's her favorite player this year.
And now
But-
they're
but-
going to sign Dansby.
But again, it takes 2.
It does.
So do you think the Braves want to sign him?
Oh yeah, 100%. So as far as the clubhouse, it is Dansby's clubhouse. It's also Travis's clubhouse. Those are the 2 leaders as far as the everyday players. From the pitcher standpoint, it's Max's clubhouse. You have what a lot of people don't realize. You have a lot of different cliques in every clubhouse. And so it is Dansby and it's Travis. Again, Dansby keeps saying, "Hey, I want to be a Brave. I want to be a Brave." We'll see how much he wants to be a Brave. And with it being a big free agent shortstop market, don't forget who his agent is either.
No,
Same guy that was Freddie's, right?
Yep.
Yep. So that's interesting.
It still worked out well for the Shelby Miller trade, though.
It did.
I'm glad we traded him.
So now that the Braves are gone and the Dodgers are gone, is Philly the team with the lightning in the bottle now? And I got to say this: what's their catcher's name? Real Muto. What a cool inside the park home run last week. Did you see that? That guy can
Unbelievable.
fly for a catcher.
Well, and then triples are true athletic achievements. Usually, whenever there's a
Inside the park home run?
inside the park, or it's usually because it had a crazy carom. But once again, you're talking about lightning in a bottle. How do you motivate the other 25 guys on a team when your catcher gets an inside the parker? When you saw them on the top step going crazy,
Yeah.
that motivates Schwarber to hit a 488 footer yesterday.
And the look that Harper had on his face when Schwarber hit that
Blown
home run
away.
was priceless. That was incredible. So, are the Phillies the team in the bottle? Is that your pick now, Ray?
No, I think it's going to come down to. I think it unfortunately is going to come down to the Astros. I think they are the best team overall. They, from top to bottom, the pitching, the bullpen, everything, and they're hot. And so, they do have the Yankees number.
They do. They do.
And they start tonight, right? Because of all the delays. And,
correct. Correct.
and
the
the
Yankees
offseason.
got no off days
Yeah.
in between.
Yeah, and the Phillies are up 2-0 already on the Padres in their second game. So they're up 1-0. If the Phillies and the Yankees wind up, weren't they in the World Series together 13 years ago? I know it was the last time the Yankees were in the World
That
Series.
sounds about right.
Is it the last time the Phillies were in it too?
Utley and that group of Phillies.
Yeah.
2009 was the last year with the Yankees.
With the Yankees, do you know if it is with the Phillies? Adam,
Yes.
the intern, get on that. Let's see if you can find out for us.
It was either 09 or 08 for the Phillies.
Well, they said last night that the Phillies and the Yankees played in 2009.
So,
I'm
yep.
just curious as whether that's the last time the Phillies were in. I think it was.
Probably. So.
I know they haven't been there since Harper's been over.
No. It was just that little stretch where they had Rollins, Utley, and what's that big first baseman? I can't think of it.
Oh, gosh, I know who you're talking
Hopkins,
about.
I can't think of it.
We'll come to it, but I know who you're talking
Guy
about.
was a beast. That was a beast.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you. For the Astros, Justin Verlander got shelled in his opening start. They came back and won the game. And then the deciding game went to 18 innings. And their rookie, who replaced Carlos Correa, saving a little bit of money, the rookie hit a solo home run. They are the best team top to bottom now. And they're also willing to cheat more than everybody else. 2009.
So we were right. The last time both of these teams were in the World Series was 2009 when the Yankees
Not
beat the
both
Phillies.
of these teams. Neither one of those teams is currently in the World Series yet.
They will be,
Okay.
my opinion.
I don't see it. I'm looking up here now, and it's 3-0. So I
just
know
had another one.
I'm a moron to say it out loud, but I'll still take the Padres in this. The Padres have more talent, and if it wasn't for what's his name, Fernando Tatis Jr., can you imagine what this lineup would look like with Soto, Machado, and Tatis Jr.?
Yeah, he's out
Crazy.
Until. Is he suspended any for next year or?
Yes.
Yes,
Or a few
first,
games,
80,
right? Yeah.
First 80 games.
That many?
Yeah,
But
it
I
was-
thought his whole thing was like 100 games.
I thought it was 162.
Was
and
it
so
that many?
basically 80
I didn't know it was
this
a full
80.
year. I thought it was like 85 games total at the first. Maybe they just meant for the rest of the 85 this year. But Padres good ball club. Hugh Darvish pitched a heck of a game last night. He gave up 3 hits and 2 of them solo homers.
And just to throw it out there, they might go down in flames and never do anything. But the most impressive thing I've seen so far this baseball season was Hader's performance on Saturday night. You bring out your closer. Everybody knows what he's bringing to the table. And against the Dodgers, it's the 1, 2, 3 hitters. He had Mookie, then he had Trey Turner, and then he had Freeman. Struck all 3 of them out swinging. No called third strikes. Everybody was swinging. Do you know what their combined payroll for those 3 players was this year?
A lot.
$70.5 million. So, if you're the Dodgers and you're like, okay, we need a home run here in the 9th inning. Luckily, you spent $70.5 million, and Hader just sent them all packing, and he was pretty pumped when he did it.
And he should be. That's a
Absolutely.
great task.
Absolutely.
So, playoff baseball's in the air, and we will know 4 out of 7 now, right, for both the NLDS and then ALCS, and then 4 out of 7 for the World Series, obviously. So we'll be playing baseball into November, but we'll have a better idea next week of who's going to be playing in the World Series. I'm not sure if it will be quite wrapped up by next Wednesday or not, but it should be close.
Astros should be done with the Yankees by then.
Philly should be done with the Padres by then. So, yeah. I just have to say the Yankees because I took them. So I think they're just all riding the Judge train. And I know he had a rough ALDS.
But if you can have a rough one and get through it, it's kind of like Schwarber. Schwarber looked like garbage for the first 2 series, and now all of a sudden he's hitting bombs and inspiring the world. So.
Yeah. All right. So we'll get ready to move on to here she comes. So, Ray, if you would give up your seat to Bailey for just a second.
Absolutely.
And she will let her do her little Miller's Ale House commercial, and we will move on from there. So get ready for the college football section. And here comes Bailey. Here comes Bailey. So they made you take off your Vandy shirt, too?
Yeah.
Good grief.
I've got wires everywhere.
Yep, come around the back. It might be easier. Or just step over it. So how was your trip to Target, Bailey?
Fine.
Any fashion news on the
Any
on the
fashion
forefront?
news we want to hear about?
No, it takes you about 30 minutes to find a black pair of pants. So
Yeah. Well, we are glad you're back in time to be on the show. Congratulations on your move up to bartender. Are you excited about that?
yes,
Yeah. So tell us, what is Bailey's favorite drink to make here at Miller's Ale House?
Tito's strawberry lemonade.
Now, I'm talking about making it
Yeah,
or drinking
yeah,
it.
Making it because it's the easiest to make.
Oh, is it? And if Bailey was going to make a drink for herself, what would Bailey make?
Amarillo sour.
Amarillo sour. I've been to Amarillo by morning, but I don't know about Amarillo sour. That's a good song for a country song. Yeah. So
state.
what's happening? I know the Owls Club's having a meeting here tomorrow night. What else is going on at Miller's Ale House?
Tomorrow is our prime rib. I say this every time I come on here.
Well, that's okay
That's
because
okay.
you still got prime rib.
We still got prime rib.
Charlie's sticking her tongue out at Bailey.
I think Charlie wants to come on here.
Charlie was on last week. She's fabulous.
Well, I think that's about it that's going on.
Yeah.
Lately.
Did you guys have a big crowd in here for the Tennessee Alabama game?
You know, I was at home watching the game,
Oh, were ya?
actually. So I don't work on Saturdays. This football season, I do not work.
You don't work on Saturdays?
No.
Who's your team?
Good to know.
Go Dogs.
Oh God, help me.
I kind of figured, but when you said you were at home watching that game, it's like,
So it's kind of odd that she says she's a dog fan and she walked in today wearing a Vanderbilt shirt.
Okay, well.
Was that a bet? Was there a bet involved in this thing?
It's the only black sweatshirt I have, and we have to wear black sweatshirts here.
All right. So, well, we're glad you've been promoted to bartender. We'll be looking for you to take care of us here in the next 50 years. And
50.
all right, how about year?
Yes.
Okay, the next year. And we're just pleased as punch to be a part of Miller's Ale House. So everybody, a round of applause for Bailey the bartender.
Thank you.
That's what I'm talking about. Thanks, Bailey. And we'll get Ray back in here. Speaking of the Tennessee-Alabama game, that was quite a football game.
that was a football game.
Yeah. Is that what football is all about? Is that what college football is all about?
You know, if there was a crystal ball and they could just tell you this is the game you want to see. You know, they told us 2 months ago it was going to be Alabama and Texas A&M, but they missed it by a couple weeks.
Yes, they did.
What a game.
So are the rankings right? Is Georgia supposed to be number one? Is OSU supposed to be number two? Is Tennessee supposed to be number three? Where should they be?
Yeah. It's as far as Tennessee, 4, maybe Clemson right there at 3 or 4. Ohio State, which every year they are always up there, and I'm still waiting. And I know I'm going to make a lot of the OSU fans upset, and I have a lot of friends
That's
that
easy
are
to do.
OSU fans. They're always ranked in the top 4 early on, but I'm sorry, you have to do something in the playoff. Until you do something in the playoff, to me, you're overrated, and it's been a long time.
It's been a few seasons.
When was OSU was in 2 years ago?
I was going to say 4 years ago, but
I don't know. I'm talking about the one I said that they were in it.
oh, they
That they were in the playoffs 2 years ago because Michigan knocked them out last year. Michigan
Right.
was in the Final Four.
You know,
if you would.
I'm looking at the top 25 right now, and the top the top 9 teams are all undefeated. So when you look at the pecking order, well, if TCU, well, there's nobody for TCU to play, but if Mississippi beats Alabama, well, they'll move up. And, you know, everything's fine. I don't really care about the rankings at this point. The only person who has no chance of making it to the Final Four is Syracuse. That's the only undefeated team that has no chance.
I think that'll change come Saturday. Don't they? Is it at Clemson, the game Saturday? I think it is.
It might be, but even when that happens, I don't think Syracuse is leapfrogging one-loss Oregon.
Well, if
or
Syracuse,
anything
Correct,
else.
yeah.
if Syracuse runs a table and wins the ACC, are they in?
No.
No, that's what I'm telling you. Unless you know anarchy happens above them.
Okay.
Is Ohio State still undefeated? Is TCU undefeated?
Yeah. Well, and somebody I saw a question on the College Fan Buzz the other day. Is there a way for Georgia, Tennessee, and Alabama to all three make the playoffs? My answer is no.
No shot.
I don't think any way
No.
in hell that can happen. So.
I mean, if you put me in a laboratory with a lot of, Ticonderoga pencils, I could come up with something where, as long as this team loses to these 2 games, but all those things are never going to happen because, it takes things like Purdue, whipping up on everybody to make that happen.
Adam, the intern, would be very happy about that. But there are just too many undefeated teams to think that a team that does not play for your conference championship. Because my scenario, Tennessee beats Georgia, Tennessee plays Alabama again for the SEC championship, and Alabama wins. Are they both going to get in with 1 loss, or are all the undefeated teams going to push them out? I mean, TCU's got a really good shot at going undefeated.
TCU can have a really good shot at going undefeated. 1, they won't. 2, everybody, we talk about the eye test, and I know last year's scores and records shouldn't have any bearing on this, but you've been watching Saban for 15 years. If there's a 1-loss Alabama versus an undefeated TCU, even people in the Big 12 are voting for Alabama to get in on that.
I don't know about that. I think undefeated has got to stand up.
I think undefeated is a good thing, and although you are so against it, at least now we know that there's more teams getting in a couple of years, and this would be a beautiful year when you look at
To have
the
8
top-
teams in
the
the
top
playoffs.
8, where
Yeah.
you look at it and you go, ooh. Did you know last week was the first or the latest week that there's ever been at least 3 matchups of undefeated teams at 5-0 or better?
No, that's pretty cool.
Period. College football history. It seemed a little impossible, but I saw the stat twice.
Oh, that's pretty impressive. A lot of good football games this past weekend. Alabama obviously was Alabama-Tennessee was the biggie. USC and Utah, you guys wanted to mention something about that?
Absolutely. Talking about all these different teams and all the different scenarios it takes. Well, one of the scenarios is USC has to lose, and Utah went for 2 with 43 seconds left. And so, everybody from the right coast, thanks you, Utah.
Yeah, thank you for knocking another potential undefeated team. Because really, we talked about this before. We thought USC and UCLA were going to wind up undefeated and be the old Pac-12, where it used to be the championship game every year before the championship existed.
You thought it would happen, and I said it could happen, yes.
Yeah, I did. That's exactly what I thought. I thought USC would take Utah, and they did not. So, it's interesting to see what happens.
Also, one thing about it is, as far as Tennessee, Georgia, and Bama, you have a committee in a room. There's no way on God's green earth are they going to vote 3 SEC teams out of the 4. There's
I don't either.
no matter what.
Can't do it. They would just look at everybody and go, this is why it's going to 8 teams.
Right.
Yeah.
And give us a couple of years, then you can have your 3 teams.
Even if 2 of those 3 are, if 2 of them are undefeated, let's say Tennessee has, or let's say Bama has 1 loss, or one. We know that Georgia or Tennessee is also going to have one loss. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. So at most you're going to have 2.
Well, let's say Tennessee plays Alabama in the SEC championship, and Tennessee beats Alabama again. There's no way Bama's getting there
No.
with 2 losses. Would you agree with that, Robert?
No, not on face value, because you haven't told me what happened to the rest of it. Did Michigan get blown out? Did Illinois surprise Ohio
So
State?
you think a
Did
2-win Alabama team can get in?
a 2-loss?
2-loss Alabama?
Depending on what we're talking about. Now, I'm not saying they're getting ahead of undefeated Clemson, undefeated TCU, undefeated,
UCLA.
Yeah. If there's that many undefeated teams, no, they're not jumping all of them. But at the end of the day, if they only lost 2 games and it was to the same team, and you think that team's the number 1 team,
Does a 2-loss Alabama team get over an undefeated Syracuse?
Oh, 100%.
absolutely, because of the eye test and everything else. When you're watching the Syracuse game, and hey, my best friend Dave Palethorpe, hey, I know you love him, baby, but
He loves the Qs.
He loves the Qs. He's a ra-cha-cha kind of guy. But, at the end of the day, you look at the eye test and you're like, okay, well, that tight end's not going to play anywhere else. That wide receiver is going home after his senior walk. It's not the case with Alabama. Their players are bigger, they are better, and they would definitely get in ahead of undefeated Cuse.
Okay, we'll have to wait and see. I'd love. Wouldn't you love to be on the committee? Wouldn't that be a great thing to be on?
I would not. That is such a smart room. When you looked at that first room, and it was like,
Condoleezza Rice.
Condoleezza Rice. She's not in it
I
anymore.
want to be in the room. I don't want to be on the committee.
Correct.
Yeah, but I watch about that much football, so I would enjoy being on the committee and watching that much football.
I'd like to occasionally throw firecrackers in the room just to go, what about TCU? That's a bunch of, and then just run away from it.
And let them talk about it. Yeah, that would be cool. All right, so we're going to get into our college picks for the week. Ray, we'll have you join us as well for this. First game tomorrow night, Virginia. Robert and I both flashing the jackets this weekend. So Virginia on a Thursday night visits the Flats at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech, which kind of shocked me, is giving up 3 points.
They're saying they're even. So
they're saying they're because you get 3 points for being at home. But I don't think they're even. Ray, what do you think about this game?
With it, I do believe Tech will win. With it, and what a great story, and it goes to show you what an obvious choice it was, as far as having to make the change. To me, there's no reason whatsoever that a Georgia Tech of any sport or Georgia in any sport should be that bad in Atlanta, in Georgia, in the Southeast. They are too big of a program to be that bad.
I would agree with that. And not only that, I mean, if Brent Key wins tomorrow night, because I watched him in the interview after the Pittsburgh game when they beat Pittsburgh up in the rain in Pittsburgh, and he said, we've got some great athletes here at Tech. What we didn't have is our players weren't on the same page. And whatever he's done over the last 2 weeks, he's got these players on the same page. I expect Tech to cover the 3 points tomorrow night.
I'm taking Tech minus the 3 as well. I think, there's something that happens when the coach gets fired, and the new coach walks in and goes, hey, by the way, the last guy just got canned because you guys suck so bad, so no positions are safe. I know you think you're the best wide receiver, and you might be, but you better prove it Tuesday through Friday to make it out there on Saturday, and whatever his word is, whatever his message is, they're fighting. They're fighting.
Yep. So we got 3 Georgia Techs across the board. Second game is Syracuse getting 13.5 at Clemson.
Death Valley. That's where this Q story ends. I'll take the Tigers minus the 13.5.
The Tigers minus the 13.5. Ray?
It will be the death of the Qs and them being undefeated. So yeah, Clemson 100%.
I will agree that Clemson's going to win the ball game, but I'm going to take Syracuse plus the 13.5. I think it's a 10-point game.
That's because you're thrifty.
I'm thrifty.
You're thrifty. he likes looking at all this. Oh, that 13.5. Give me that hook.
Oh, well, I've been beaten too many times this year on laying points. It has something to do with it. But Syracuse has got a heck of a running back. I wish I could think of his name. But
he is really good.
Very, very good running back. And the quarterback's
against
serviceable.
the competition we've seen.
Against competition we've seen, yeah. They did beat UConn. They did beat Purdue, who one person in this panel thinks is the bomb.
They beat NC State. That was their first
beat
big
NC
win.
State.
They beat NC State.
Yeah.
Maybe NC State's not exactly what we thought, but that was a good win by them.
Also, with State though, their starting quarterback was out.
Yep.
Correct.
And that was a huge loss for the Wolfpack.
Absolutely.
So 2 Clemsons and a Syracuse. Let me get on my glasses. Ole Miss plus 1.5 at LSU. This spread baffled me. It totally baffled me.
Did you do any research? And I did not.
A little.
When was the last time Ole Miss won in Baton Rouge? That's what
before
happens.
I was born, I think.
That's the whole thing. When you look at these types of games, it's how could that possibly be? Because the grandpa never won there.
Somebody knows something. Yeah. We always know Vegas knows everything. So,
correct.
But I gotta take Lane Kiffin and the boys laying 1.5. I think Brian Kelly's going to be fine at LSU, but I know it's not this year. But I think once he gets recruited, gets his recruits in there, gets the players he wants, that he'll be fine. That he'll probably win a national championship within 5 years. But Not this year. Don't make that face at me. Don't make that face. LSU, I'll take Ole Miss plus the 1.5 this week.
Yeah. Ole Miss from top to bottom, they are better. It is that it doesn't matter where you play that game. Ole Miss is just bigger. They're stronger. They're faster. They're flat out better.
LSU, Robert, you take LSU?
No. I'm taking Ole Miss. I was just looking up to see, is that a night game?
I don't think it is.
Because that'd be the one factor. What do we got? So they lost 16.
2008 was the last time.
2008.
And the game this week, I think it's a day game. I think I saw it. It's a 12 o'clock kickoff, but I'm not sure. Are you checking that, Robert?
I am.
They can play on the moon. It does not matter. Ole Miss will definitely win that game.
Ole Miss, like I said, getting 1.5 is a little strong for me. So Adam, the intern, is writing down game time. What do you got, ATI? Oh, I thought you were writing it
I
down.
was on basketball. I was looking up basketball.
All right, we will move on to our next pick, and we'll get the game time on the LSU. We have UCLA +6 at Oregon. UCLA, the undefeated UCLA +6 at an Oregon team that got beat 49-3 by the Dogs. Obviously, first game of the year. A lot of things have changed. It is a 3:30 kickoff on CBS. That means we got Gary, what's his name, Danielson, running his yap again for that game. So we got UCLA +6 at Oregon. I'll go ahead and say DTR. I'll take UCLA outright to win this game at Oregon, but I'll definitely take the 6 points.
Oregon. I'm going with Oregon because the Bruins up to this point, they have not proven that this is their proven game. We'll see exactly how good they are if they can win on the road.
It's a tough place to play, obviously.
Eugene's a tough place to play
You're
football.
Going to Eugene. I'm going UCLA.
UCLA?
UCLA. I think UCLA's got this one because I think Chip really wants to win. Chip's won a lot of games in Eugene. I think he really wants to win one more. And, I think it'll be a fun, entertaining game. So, sitting around late night, you can watch a few flickers and a couple halfback option passes.
It'll be a fun game to watch. Oh, I hope that's a night game because I want to watch it. The last game in our college schedule is Texas laying 6 at Oklahoma State. So what do we think? Are you Texas or OK State fan? Hook 'em horns? So you're going to take Texas and lay the 6 points? Wow, okay. He's bigger than me. I might have to change my pick. Robert, who you got in this one?
Texas has shown you a lot ever since their loss to Bama. They played them head to head, and they pushed their buttons, and everything about this game and spread says you should not take Texas. This is one of those. The line does not make sense when you look at it. I'm going Texas.
You're going to take Texas laying the 6.
I'm going Texas because once again Vegas knows something that you don't.
Vegas knows a lot that we don't.
Right.
Ray, how about you?
Is it the first one to 60? Because I don't think there's going to be much defense in this game at all. So with that being said, I'm going to go the other way.
Okay, State.
I'm going State.
Going Cowboys.
Yeehaw! Well, I'm really torn on this game because I really like Ewers with the mullet and all that stuff. He's come down from Ohio State. He's playing some good football. Bijan Robinson is maybe one of the top 3 backs in the country. Great running back. But I don't think they're going to cover. I think Texas is going to win, but I'm looking at 4 or 3. And I'll be going hook 'em horns because I'd like to see them win. But I think it's just going to be a lot closer than the 6 points. So give me OK State plus the points, but taking the if I had to pick it straight up, I would take Texas. So, all right. Are you happy with that? You okay with that?
He doesn't care what you say, Chuck.
You waffle a little bit? Okay, no.
His mama named him Ego.
They call me the Waffle House. Yeah.
So the
There you
thing,
go,
the
I
one
like
thing
that.
I'll point out here that all these games are at 3:30. The UCLA Oregon game is at 3:30. The Texas Oklahoma State game is at 30. The Mississippi State. So I don't know what's on the rest of the day, but there's a lot of good games.
So I
at
can
3:30.
record a lot of football games to watch.
That is
Is what you're
correct.
telling me. Okay,
Screen
great.
and screen, picture in picture.
All right. It's time for a Modern Image commercial, Robert. Can you get that queued
Modern
up?
Image. Well, then Larry must have decided he didn't want to go Bearcat first because
He just held up Modern Image on the board.
You
So
had Bearcat first, but
I did, but Larry doesn't read what I write.
Modern Image is a locally owned document and photograph scanning company that helps clients secure and use paper files and photos. Whether it's important business files or sentimental family photos and videos, Modern Image is dedicated to helping clients solve problems around paper.
Go Dogs. Go Dogs. I have to say that.
Go Dogs.
I don't want to, but I do. For my buddy David. All right. So
Chuck will say anything for money.
almost. There's some
No,
things I won't
no,
say for money.
No, I
but
think you just don't know what that number is yet. I think you would say anything for money.
I know a joke about that, but I'll let that go. All right. So let's move on to some pro football. We got our picks in for the college. So let's talk about what happened this week. The Falcons upsetting the 49ers. Pretty cool game. I think we all took Atlanta last week, didn't we?
I did not.
You took San Francisco,
No,
laying the points?
I will never take Atlanta again. If me betting against them makes them win,
I'm all
about
for
that.
it. So what? They look good.
They do look good. You know, and I'm going to just keep saying the same thing. This is not a good roster. It's not a great team, but they are truly playing the same way we were talking about Georgia Tech's coach and how all of a sudden they seem to be really playing. Arthur Smith has these guys playing. You know, you might not know these names, but
You will.
Well, you might not because once again, I think we're going to draft better, and some of these guys are going away. But he has them playing. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, and I thought with Cordero Patterson they might hurt a little bit in the running back area, but Huntley ran the ball well. Even Avery Williams had some returns. And,
Algier.
And Algier was fantastic in the
Absolutely.
backfield. They ran for over 100 yards still, didn't they?
They did.
And I don't think San Francisco's given up anything like that. I was very happy that Brandon Ayuk scored a couple of touchdowns because it really boosted my fantasy football league points because I've got him in my fantasy football league.
Did you win?
I did. But the Falcons played really well, and I don't think they get enough credit on the national stage. I kept saying, somebody talk about the Falcons, but they didn't talk about the Falcons. But my question to you, Ray, are they the best team in the NFC South?
No. It still comes down to Tampa. One quick thing about Smith and with the Falcons, in his 22 games, they have been 19 of those 22 games. They've been within one score of the final outcome. So every game, 19 out of the 22, they are in the game.
And when you think about how horrendous this team was before he got here, they weren't losing by 6 or less points. And we currently have a $63 million worth of dead payroll because Julio and Matt and the wide receiver who has a lot of issues.
Calvin Ridley.
Whether he's betting or he's got family issues or he's just got a lot of
It
issues.
is a really bad roster.
It is a super bad roster. And I'm just hoping we don't win too many games because I think this is the year we make our mark in the draft and this team really takes that step forward.
Well, I have to disagree with Ray, and that's fine because that's what we like to do on this show. We don't want to all be on the same page. I think the Falcons are the best team in the NFC South, poor roster or not. I mean, Tampa Bay's hurting. Everybody's talking about. I mean, Brady's thrown one touchdown pass the last 2 weeks, and I'll say it time and time again. I've said for many years, this has got to be the year where he falls off. This is the year where he falls off. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. New Orleans is a train wreck. We should have beat New Orleans again in the first game if Mariota had not fumbled a 3rd-and-1 snap up close where he should have just taken the ball and run for a first down. We won that ball game. We had a shot at the Rams when we threw the interception in the end zone. We should have gotten a shot to beat the Bucs when the invisible flag came out for
Oh, it wasn't
J.D. Garrett.
invisible.
It was in my mind.
It
There's-
was neon.
It was Neon. No, that was Dion. But it should have. The Falcons should have had a chance to win that ball game. So the Falcons are not a bad club, and Carolina is a train wreck. I mean, I don't know who's gonna play at Carolina. They just traded Robbie Anderson because him and the coach got in a fight on the
And
sidelines,
then they fired the coach.
and then they fired the coach.
And,
Yep.
and they say Christian McCaffrey is on his way out. So if you're looking for a little fantasy tidbit, sign Dante Foreman because he's getting ready to be the starter in Carolina.
He's your guy.
Well, he's not my guy, but if you don't have
Do you
a
have
running back-
McCaffrey?
No.
Okay.
But like I said, once McCaffrey wears a Seahawks uniform or whatever other team uniform, Dante Foreman will be the one.
So do you think the Falcons are the best team in the NFC South?
I do not. I think the roster is we're playing better than any other team in the South, and I will. I've been calling for Buck Chin Brady's demise for a long time, and I've been eating crow for many years.
Or
but-
Tom Brady?
or him too. At the end of the day, though, he doesn't look like he wants to be there.
Exactly.
When you look at the highlights of this last game, and he's getting chased around, he's just got this despair on his face to where, just get me off the field or let me do something else.
Yeah.
I am not going to bet against him though.
Oh, no.
There's a lot of football left,
Tons, and he has a lot of weapons.
yes, he does.
He has a lot of
There's a lot of injuries on that squad. One thing about it,
One thing after the other. One after the other. Yeah.
once he gets ticked off,
That's
and
when
we're
everybody's
enough,
usually in trouble.
yeah, it's like you don't want that fire or that foot come down that neck be when it's against Atlanta.
And with the running game that they have in Fournette and 3 or 4 wide receivers, I actually put Julio as their 4th best. I think Gage is better than him currently. But maybe here at the draft, the trade deadline, maybe they get a left guard or whatever ails them, and maybe they turn it around. But they currently look awful.
They do, and like I said, I'm going to take the Falcons to win the NFC South and make the playoffs. They might still go 500. No, they can't go 500. They might go 9-8 or 8-9. But I think they're going to win. I think the NFC South is that bad that the Falcons are playing well enough for Arthur Smith to win the division.
And I'm not disagreeing with you, and I'm not throwing anything out there as if I believe this could happen or will happen. It could happen, but it probably won't happen. Jameis is coming back. So, that's a horrible team down in New Orleans. And
he's horrible.
And they haven't been able to throw the ball more than 20 yards down the field. Now, all of a sudden, they're getting ready to have a gunslinger back there who's going to tell Olave to go deep. Don't worry, I can actually throw the ball downfield and get it.
Well, they had a lot of receivers hurt this past week. Olave
They have.
was out, and
This week as well.
Michael Thomas.
Olave,
Thomas, yeah.
Olave is the only one back this week, but I still think it's going to take 10 wins to as far as winning the South, and out of Tampa, out of Atlanta, I see Tampa winning the 10.
Absolutely.
well, next week we're going to take a deeper look at the NFC South and go game by game and see how we think the Falcons might be able to get there, or how I might think the Falcons can get there. Because I think they're going to have 2 wins against Carolina. I think they're going to beat the Saints when they beat them here. I think they'll beat Tampa Bay here. They'll play the
That's
Saints
7.
and New
That's
Orleans,
7
right?
wins.
Yep. And we'll talk about this week's game in Cincinnati
And I don't,
coming up
I'm
in our
not,
picks.
I'm not trying to crush your dreams a week before you share them with everybody, but you basically just predicted that we'll win all of our division games.
The rest of our division games.
Correct. So,
Yeah.
and that's what it takes. It's going to take the Falcons going 4-0 in that to get us to that spot.
Yeah, and I think we can get there, but
I would love to see it. I don't see it happening though.
well, we'll see. I wish I remembered the Falcons' schedule better. I used to know every game they played and when it was.
We can
and
talk
back
about
when
who
I was
they're
a
getting
kid.
ready to play here in a minute. But
We're going to.
will?
They got the Bayou Bengals, not the Bayou Bengals, the real Bengals up in Cincinnati
no,
this week.
Bengals.
Yeah,
So,
the Bengals.
What about the Chiefs and Bills? Was that everything you thought?
Yeah, it was. What a great football game. It was the best football game last year by far. This year, it was the best football game I've seen so far. It's just so entertaining to watch them play. Mahomes and Allen is just a show. both of them.
It is, and I'm just going to jump back to the last segment where we were talking about undefeated Syracuse and 2-loss Alabama. When you watch Buffalo and Kansas City play, they pass the eye test. When you're watching them, you're like, oh yeah, look at these. These are players.
So are they both better than Philadelphia?
Oh yeah, yes.
Philly's D is the question mark. Yes, their offense is better, but Hurts is good. Hurts can win you some games. He's been in the trenches. He got pulled out at halftime in a national championship. He got put in at halftime in a national championship game.
So
he's been there.
So we talked about how bad the NFC South is. How about the NFC East? Are they the best division in football?
The Giants still aren't that good. I know they keep winning. I'm just going to keep telling you, they're just not that good. When they can't throw the ball consistently, and although Saquon is doing a phenomenal job of leading that team,
Number 26.
Daniel Jones is just not that good.
Everything I saw this week, they said sign him up. He's the franchise guy.
And I hope so, because I hate the Giants enough to where I hope he's wearing a jersey.
You
for the
hope
next
he wear a
5
jersey
years.
for a long time. How about the Jets? Both teams in New York are on fire. The Jets are playing well. They go into Green Bay and clobber Green Bay. They didn't beat them. They beat the snot out of them.
That was all defense, and that was all the running game.
Yeah, correct.
Brees Hall had a really big game.
He did. And to your point, what are the two things that if you do successfully at any level of football, you're going to win? Run the ball and play defense. And that's what the Jets are doing. Well, if you can run and play defense, you might go places.
If you can run and play defense, you might go places. And the Falcons' defense is getting better every week.
It is.
And they can run the ball. I think they're the number 3 offense in the NFL right now.
The Falcons' offense last week had 3 guys with 50 yards rushing. That doesn't happen very often.
And when is Cordero Patterson coming back? Is it next week?
He was at least out for 4 games. I believe he's been out for 2.
Yeah, because he's on
currently.
IR, right?
Correct.
Yeah. But like I said, Huntley, who I couldn't believe he got cut at the beginning at the first year, is looking good. And Algiers is going to get better every game he plays. I believe that. The more he sees, the better he'll be. So very excited about the Falcons. And it's been a while since I could say that. And to Robert's point earlier, Arthur Smith, he's done a great job with what he's done in Atlanta. He's turned the whole roster over, except for 2 people, I think, in 4 years. And when I watch games on Sundays, I just don't know these people. But I'm getting to know them. I think Grady Jarrett's the only one there that I've known for a while. And they just traded Deion Jones, who was another one of the ones that's been there a while. And he got shipped to Arizona or somewhere out west.
Different system, different setup.
Different system, different setup, yeah.
I heard something the other day. The Falcons' defense needs a big middle linebacker. Not extremely fast, but he's got to have girth. And that's not what Deion Jones was. Deion Jones was an undersized, very fast middle linebacker. He'll work great in some other defenses, just wasn't.
He's not the athlete that the Arthur Smith system is looking for. Is that what you're saying?
Well, he might be more athletic than what we're looking for, but
Yeah.
he was undersized because of it.
Yeah.
We're looking for an extra 35 pounds.
Yeah. He's looking for something different. That's for sure.
And he knows it.
And he knows
That's
exactly
the
what
key.
he wants.
That's
And I
the
think that's
key.
what makes him a good coach. He's got a system, and he's going to stick to that system and see what happens. And it worked well for him in Tennessee when he was offensive coordinator, right?
Seemed to work good. I didn't see anybody else lining up to get Ryan Tannehill, and he took him to a number 1 spot.
Well, you even think about that. Think about what he's done with Mariota. I mean, Mariota played under his system in Tennessee,
Correct.
who agreed to build a new dome in Tennessee. That's pretty wild. And have you seen that?
I did not.
I can't believe they're going to build a dome in Nashville, but they are. But pretty cool for that city.
It gets cold there.
Yeah, it gets cold here, but football meant to be played outside. I'm not a fan of domes, and we'll talk about that later.
I went just as a follow-up to that. I went to a Thursday night game between the Titans and the Colts at Nissan Stadium about 5-6 years ago. So I didn't have a dog in the fight. None of the guys were on my fantasy roster, so I really had nothing there. The night of the game, it was 47 degrees. Had it been the night before, it was like 32 degrees. So I was frozen sitting in a seat that, outside of my love for football, I really didn't care about. But I'm not a dome guy either.
Well, it's going to be pretty chilly at the Tech game tomorrow night. I think mid-50s at kickoff, and a little bit lower than that. But it's not
blustery
but it's-
down on the flats.
But it's not the 14 I experienced in Green Bay a couple of years ago. So 14 degrees was a little cold to watch a football game, but I'd do it again tomorrow. Speaking of things we might need today or tomorrow, Robert, could you read us a little bit about the Bearcat Express?
Funny, I just have something right here. Do you need a delivery right now? As in, go now, please? Bearcat Express has expedited shipping on hand-carried items, car, van, or pickup. Whether it's from Memphis to Augusta, Atlanta to Athens, or Dothan to Charlotte, and all points in between, we've got the drivers to get your stuff where it needs to be. Whether your passport's still on the dresser, your 7-iron isn't in the bag, or you have a dog that hates to fly, Bearcat Express, with their live tracking capabilities, is the team to turn to. We are the go-to courier in the Southeast. Check us out at BearcatExpress.com.
Thank you, Blair Cook and David McDonough, for being our sponsors. Don't forget, you can listen to us on 91.1 FM, Three Guys Who Love Sports. Speaking of Three Guys Who Love Sports, it's time to make some NFL predictions. We've got 5 pretty good games coming up this weekend.
I'll take the last game. I'll go last on the last game. I don't care about anything else.
Last on the last game. Okay. We'll go. Well, let's. Okay. Well, we'll do a little out of order. No, we'll start with Falcons. Falcons +6 at Cincinnati.
I'll take the Bengals. If I can bet against the Falcons and
they win?
and they win,
You'll do it all day long?
I'm a happy camper.
I'm going to take the Falcons. I think the Falcons are the choice this weekend. Hopefully, at the end of this week's games, that they might be get a little national recognition.
Pulling for the Falcons, but I truly think it's going to be Cincy.
And I love Chuck. He leads with that rock solid chin of his. I'm looking for some national exposure. When are the pundits going to start liking on my Falcons?
Exactly. That's what I'm talking
Probably
about.
won't happen this week.
Well, I don't know. Like I said,
They didn't this past week. I'll tell you this. I was watching the Sunday night game, and they didn't do all the games. They just did like 8 games, and it wasn't one of the games, and you thought, this should have been one of the games.
it was a major upset.
It was a major
if
upset.
not the
It
biggest
was-
upset of the week.
And like you said, no love.
No love for my birds, for the Dirty Birds. All right, speaking of Tennessee, second game on the list is Indy getting only 2.5 points at Tennessee. For me, this is a no-brainer. Derrick Henry will run all over the Colts. I know JT's probably back this week,
Supposed to be.
supposed to be back, but I still like Derrick Henry and Tannehill cleaning the floor with the Colts.
Cleaning the floor with them.
Or sweeping the rug, because there's turf up there too, I think.
What you think?
I think I'm going to go the other way. Because Taylor's back. The wide receivers are back for Matt Ryan.
Pittman had a really good game this weekend.
And everybody did. And if it takes Matt Ryan throwing 55 times, yeah, I think the Colts are going to pull it off.
He threw the ball a lot last weekend, didn't he? Like 45 in the first half.
He did.
Yeah.
He's I believe #1 in passing yards in the NFL.
Is he really?
I think he was second behind Mahomes, but then this past weekend he threw more, and he's the leader. And with JT coming back, I'm going the Colts. Still not in love with really anything I've seen from Tennessee. Once we poached Arthur Smith, it seemed like a really exciting team when he was there. But I think that trade where they gave Brown to the Eagles obviously paid huge dividends in Philadelphia, but not so much in Nashville.
That could be. That
And
could
they
be.
did spend that pick on a wide receiver. I don't remember his name right offhand.
And he is hurt.
And he is hurt, but even when he wasn't, it's just one of those things. It's hard to have an all-pro caliber guy and then just, hey rookie, go out
Oh,
there.
you're talking
and
about
act like
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Yes.
They drafted. Who did
Correct.
Tennessee draft as a wide receiver? Adam, the intern.
With the pick that they got from Philadelphia for Brown.
It was a first-round pick. wasn't
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Top 10, if I'm not mistaken.
It wasn't. No,
I think he was
Williams
about-
went to
I think he was
Detroit,
about
right?
14
Right.
or 15.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't an Alabama receiver. Alabama went to Detroit. Williams,
Jameson Williams.
Jameson Williams,
Right.
yeah. So we'll have Adam the intern check on that. Next game we have is New Orleans plus 1.5 at Arizona. So Arizona's laying 1.5. They hurt. They just traded for Robbie Anderson, who got in a fight with the new coach at Carolina, and that's called Brown's out for a while. Marquise Brown, right?
Marquise Brown's out, but Hopkins just came back.
Right.
So Hopkins, as far as you'd like to have both of your best wide receivers,
Traylon Burks.
Burks,
Traylon
yes.
Burks. And he's a big guy. He's just like Brown, but he hasn't been working so far. Where were we? What was I
Arizona, New Orleans.
talking- So they're getting
New Orleans getting 1.5.
They're getting their suspended wide receiver back. The offense could have been really good if they'd have had both of them, but now you got to limp along for 4 more weeks. It's kind of a crazy spread, 1.5, because New Orleans hasn't really done anything to make you think they're 1.5 better than the Cardinals. But I'm going Cardinals.
I'm going Cardinals as well for pretty much the same reason.
Right across the board, because one, as far as in Arizona, Murray, he is the wild card factor there, and the Saints are just that bad.
They are
have
that bad.
nobody to throw to.
Which gets back to my earlier point. Of course, you said Tampa Bay is going to win the division, not the Saints. Saints are the bottom of the barrel, in my opinion.
Yep.
In the NFC South. All right.
I think Carolina gets that.
Yeah,
title,
but yeah,
but-
Carolina's probably because Kamara gives the Saints a little bit edge
Correct.
there.
You can hand it off to Kamara 30 times
Yeah.
and possibly beat anyone.
All right. Cleveland plus 6.5 at Baltimore. Now, this is the most interesting game to me, basically because Baltimore gives up every game. 3 times now they've given up double-digit leads in the fourth quarter.
They are
They are tanking.
They are one of the NFL's greatest all-time teams for the first 2.5 quarters.
Yes, they are.
And,
Are they the best 3-3 team out there, Baltimore?
I don't know which team's theirs. Is it
Falcons?
the fourth quarter? No, is it the fourth quarter
yeah,
team?
yeah,
or-
yeah.
I mean, because if it's the first 3 quarters or first 2.5 quarters, clearly, if this is the other part, then not. So I'm going with that. I told you last week it would be the game that they broke the Schneid.
Yep.
They didn't. It was one of the games I lost. So I'm going the other way and just figuring this team is made of a bunch of tankers, and I'll take the Browns.
Well, you can see my
It's a
pick
run.
already. I'm not copying you. I did go with the Browns, too, for the same reason. They keep giving up in the fourth quarter. I don't know what's going on with Lamar Jackson because everybody had him picked as the MVP for the year, and I don't think he's the MVP pick for the year. I think Josh Allen's got that sewn up, but we'll see.
Zone might be a little extreme, but he's a great front run right now.
Yeah. All right. Ray, how about you, buddy?
I am going to the. I'm going with the Baltimore. I'm going with the Ravens. I believe the first half Ravens will mysteriously show up in the second half.
Yeah, in the Ravens going for them this week is they're not going against a great quarterback. So if they do build a big lead, it's hard to go Chubb left, Chubb right to get back in the game. I think there's just going to be a lot of Chubb going on
Early.
early
Yeah.
and often.
Early and often. I like Chubb running the rock against the Ravens defense. Last game of the week, the other team surprising Jets at New York at Denver, and they're getting 3. The New York Jets are getting 3 at Denver. Denver
Vegas
is not a
always
good
goes
ball
to-
club.
They're not. I watched a NFL Today or something like that where they were breaking down plays and they're showing this is the most basic defense a team could possibly run, and Russell Wilson is reading everything wrong.
Yeah.
So not only are possibly these other players letting them down, but on common sense for people who have been an NFL quarterback for 10 years, he is failing on a lot of levels.
So let's talk about that. Is Russell going from Seattle to Denver that big of a change? Or is it Russell Wilson that's changed, or the system? Because he was a good quarterback. A lot of people said he was going to thrive in Denver, and he obviously is not. He's not hooking up with my receiver. I know that Cortland Sutton, and
Not doing a lot with Judy.
he's
either.
not doing with Jerry Judy, and they threw to a tight end that I'd never heard of. His first ever NFL touchdown the other night against the Chargers. I just don't see Denver doing much. I'm going to have to take Brees Hall and the Jets, Brees and the Jets, for for a victory in the Mile High Stadium, Mile High City anyway. So give me the Jets.
I am going to go. I'm going to go with the Jets, not because I think the Jets are that good. It's that Denver's that bad.
No argument. No argument at all. I'm going Jets as well, and I might have taken them last week and another time, so maybe I'm riding them a little bit. But I just want to throw out this great stat.
So this is why you wanted to go last,
This is
because
why
you
I-
have a stat.
Because I have a stat.
Okay.
This is their 7th game. In the first 6 games, they've been an underdog in every game.
Yep. I heard that last night.
They're 4-2, and no matter what, they are an underdog. So here it is, 7th week in a row, they are an underdog.
Give me the Jets.
Give me the Jets.
Jets. Yes. I wish Sean was here. I know he'd be happy about that. Sean, the bartender here, is a big Jets fan, and he's not here this week. He's in Orlando. But we're very happy to be back at Miller's Ale House with Bailey behind the bar and Bill in charge tonight. But we've had a great show. Ray, we thank you for being here.
Thank you,
we want to
guys.
talk briefly about our fantasy football league and 3 guys who love sports. I think Robert is still undefeated, are you not? Robert's undefeated. He beat Larry the engineer and Adam the intern this week by, 106 points? How bad was it, Larry?
It was a lot closer than
It
that.
was closer than that? Okay. And I know. How much? So what's your record now, Larry? Are you 2-4? You're 3-3. I'm 2-4, and I feel a lot better about my team. I made some big changes this week, so I feel very confident about getting to 3-4 next week and climbing back in the running
Well,
for the 3 guys who love sports
I
trophy.
love fantasy football, fantasy baseball. Give me anything fantasy. This is a huge week for you. There are a lot of 2-4 teams in our league.
Yeah,
2-4, you're this far out of the playoffs.
yeah.
But 2-5 is like a mile and a half. So,
Yeah.
this
It
a
is
big
big.
week.
I scored 93 points off my bench this weekend. That's pretty strong.
Well, that just means you're a good GM and possibly a horrible coach.
Well, we had 120, I think, on the regular and 93 on the bench. So we're going to make some adjustments according to that. And don't forget, Helping One Guy is the organization we help out to give them money for people that have had cancer and can't pay their bills. So the winner of the Fantasy Football League will donate $1,000 in their name to Helping One Guy. So, Ray, again, thanks for being with us, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
We look forward to being at Miller's Ale House next week. And don't forget, 91.1 FM. And we'll be back at 7 o'clock for the Owls, who love sports, all about KSU. Go ahead.
I'm good. I was going to give you one more stat. I got one more stat. We were talking about eye tests, college football, and everything else. Did you see the stat during the Tennessee-Alabama game?
No.
Alabama scored its 56th non-offensive touchdown since 2015.
That's strong.
Second on that list is San Diego State with 38. So they've got almost 20 more than a team that is playing high school, glorified high school teams. That's why they pass the eye test. That's why they make it.
We'll expand on that next week. You guys have a great week.
Have a good one, boys.